Stay tuned after this review to watch our chat with the developer of this game. Is A Plague Tale: Innocence from Asobo Studio worth playing? Worth buying? You're about to find out. What's up, everybody? Fred Richani, TSC, your home for gaming news updates, reviews, and everything in between. If you're new here, we'd appreciate you subscribing. I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on A Plague Tale: Innocence, available on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. We happen to review this on PC. Full disclosure, we received a free copy of the game in order to do this review. And this game right here is from Asobo Studio, published by Focus Home Interactive. And it's funny because Asobo Studio normally publishes lighter titles, as in Disney, Pixar-related titles. So this is a far departure from what the studio has historically done since 2002 and its 16-plus year existence. And in this game, you play in 1349 France during the plague, where it ravages the whole kingdom of France, the whole country, and you are left orphaned as Amicia and Hugo, two siblings who kind of barely know each other because poor little Hugo has been sick over the years, has been kept sheltered, never even been allowed to go outside, and all of a sudden, their world is turned upside down. And there's not one, but two major enemies that they gotta avoid, and at times straight up defeat. First off, you have the Inquisition. You have the ruling class of France, which is just absolutely deadly. One that has no morals, no boundaries. They don't give a damn about anybody but themselves. They'll kill your mother. They'll kill your father. They'll kill your damn kids. They don't care. They want to maintain the ruling over France while the whole country is sick, plagued, and falling apart. No pun intended. You also have the other enemy, which is the rats. The rat swarm is one of the scariest things you'll see in gaming. These rats ain't just your regular rats on the New York subway. No. These rats will eat you alive. They'll come out of dead bodies. They'll come out from the underground. They'll come out from top. They will shred. They will tear apart anything, including you. So you better be freaking careful. And with these rats, they do have one major weakness that is their kryptonite. And that is the light. Anytime you have light, you can survive these rats. But if you don't, if your torch just happens to go out, you happen to drop it, well, that's all she wrote for your characters. Now, how do you play this game? What's the playstyle here? Well, I'd say think of it like Resident Evil 4 meets The Last of Us, which is actually what the creative director David Didane described it to me as at E3. And in this game right here, you work together as a team with Hugo, with Amicia. Mainly Amicia doing a lot of the heavy lifting with her sling, with any powers, with the crafting that she manages to pick up along the way, and in different skill sets using her resourcefulness. But occasionally, you'll need little Hugo to crawl underneath a hole, climb up top, help you out. And over the course of this game, you'll have a few helpful companions in the midst of all the evil that are willing to give you a helping hand. And the best advice I could give anybody that's playing this game or thinking about playing this game is be resourceful, whether it's using Amicia's sling, Hugo's small stature to crawl into those holes, or Lucas's smarts. You're going to have to use a little bit of everything. Sometimes you can just use a rock with the sling and smash some dude's face. Other times you use it to distract somebody and sneak across the guards. Other times you're slinging something that could literally burn a person's helmet off and kill them. And other times you could put them straight to sleep. And hopefully for their sake, they end up waking up. But I gotta warn you though, if you're somebody that's a little weak of heart when it comes to gore and violence and any kind of sad stories, you might want to hug afterwards, and maybe even before playing this game. Things do get intense, but I gotta say, while I was playing this game, I noticed a few things. One, the scenery itself is beautiful. Even the night effects when the rats are around you and everything. I've never seen something so disgusting, so disturbing, look so good, and it ran very well on my PC. The other thing is the sound design. I mean, the music, the voice acting was absolutely tremendous.
What about you?
We have to go and find Mommy, Amicia.
Not yet. She told us to find Laurentius.
But that's silly. We're going to get caught.
Hugo, we're going to do what she told us, and that's it. Hugo, wait.
In fact, I felt like that the narrative aspect of the game and the actual gameplay of the game fit in perfectly. They were woven together perfectly, and it made for an enjoyable experience, and I lost hours upon hours just playing this game, being immersed in this world. It is truly an immersive experience, but again, you want to be resourceful, you need to know your surroundings, and whenever you have light and there's rats around, you better use it, because it won't end well if you don't. Now, you might be asking, as far as the story goes, Fred, can you tell us a little more? I don't want to spoil it because I enjoyed it so much, but what I will tell you is this. It's a combination of survival, it's a combination of coming of age, and it is one where you find out more about the characters as you go along, and you realize that little Hugo is a hell of a lot more important than he came off as at the beginning of the game when he was just a sick little kid who was believed to be contagious. But, with all that being said, what's the verdict? Graphically, I give this game a 9 out of 10. One of the better looking games I have played in a while. I know art direction and style is subjective, but this is my review, and I have to say that something so violent, something so brutal has never looked more beautiful. And there are times too when there is actually daylight, believe it or not, and you can see the nice water effects, you can see the brutal mud, you can see the rats just ravaging everything. It's a really nice game to look at, but don't stare at the rats for too long or get too close to them because, well, you know. Gameplay, I give A Plague Tale a 9. At times, it can be a little awkward with the sling and switching back and forth between the different things. You have to select, like the pot, like the rocks, like any of the things you crafted in order to burn a dude's face. But overall, I really had no complaints about the gameplay itself. The stealth is really good. I've heard some complaints about some of the guards being a little aloof, but hey, again, it's subjective, and at the end of the day, it's about the story itself, not beating a major boss or anything like that, so I gotta give the gameplay a 9. Content, I'm giving this game a straight 10 out of 10. This game has immense substance for the amount of style it has, and it's very easy on the surface to look at some of the trailers, to look at some of the gameplay footage, to look at the screenshots and say, oh my god, there's rats here, they're gross, and there's violence, and it's taking place during a war-torn and plague-torn France, and oh, you know, it's just a lot of the scary scenarios, and you have to hide and come out, and that's it. But no, these characters right here are truly likable. Well, at least the ones that you're supposed to root for. They're truly likable. You want them to succeed. I was rooting for Hugo and Amicia and her friends the whole time, and it's just a story that really grips you from the start, and it makes you feel their pain, feel their happiness, feel all their emotions. And again, I've mentioned it before, the narrative and the actual gameplay is woven together so freaking well. TSC Gaming gives A Plague Tale Innocence from Asobo Studio a 9.3 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, we'd appreciate you clicking the like button, sharing this with all your friends, subscribing, and if you'd like to buy this game, we've linked Amazon and Humble Bundle links in the description. Full disclosure, we are an affiliate of both sites. Until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the games and don't go near the rats. David Dedane, creative director of A Plague Tale Innocence. We just witnessed the demo at Focus Home Interactive. Man, that was a visceral experience, sir. How's E3 treating you?
Thank you. So far it goes very well for us. Yeah, people react pretty well to the experience, if I can say. So yeah, we're happy.
And it's very unique because this has taken place, I believe, during the plague in 14th century France. And it's not in Paris or somewhere where people would normally think about. Can you tell us a little bit about the backstory?
Actually, it's a story about those two kids, Amicia and Hugo, which are sisters and brothers. And they will be chased from the house, from the home at the very beginning of the story. And they will have to flee in this middle age, very brutal. And they will basically realize that their story is connected to a much bigger one. And soon we will realize that Hugo has a much bigger role than his size. Let us expect.
Yeah. Okay, and now, is this going to be more of a survival game, kind of like a stealth game, a little bit of everything? Like, how would you best describe the game as far as genres go?
I would say first that it's a narrative, story-driven game. And the key element of the game is clearly the survival type of mechanics, a little bit of stealth, a little bit of action and puzzle.
And what would you say would be the biggest challenges in creating a game like this? Because we watched it was an immersive experience, seeing the flesh-eating rats, come out of the body. I mean, it was just crazy seeing the little Hugo, trying to help, but also not, trying to survive as well. What was the biggest challenge for you in creating this game?
Good question. I think the biggest challenge is really, to permanently keep the link between the narration and the gameplay. Keep the gameplay interesting and challenging, and keep it fresh, and at the same time connect the journey of the emotional journey of the two characters. Keep it true to the gameplay, which is the very obviously there is technical challenge connected to this. The rats, the way the lights inform the behavior of the rats, all of this, the beauty of the game in general, the look and feel. But it's this permanent work about keep the truth and the authenticity of the relationship and the gameplay connected all together during the whole experience.
For sure. And what was the inspiration for a game like this? Because I'm personally a huge fan of great narratives and narrative games and everything. And this is just very unique. I mean, it's very easy to do something related to the military or royalty or anything like that during that time period. But you chose to have Amicia and Hugo, see it from like their lens, so to speak. What was the inspiration for you?
There is lots of different inspiration, and it comes from different people, key people in the team. I would say that obviously there is the graveyards. I don't know the translation. Le tombeau des lucioles, the graveyard, the butterfly of the graveyard, a Japanese animated movie, which is the story about two kids in the just at the end of the Second World War, which is really about this friction between the innocence of two characters and the brutal world all around them. So it's one of the inspiration. In terms of gameplay, obviously there is Last of Us, which have informed everyone, perception. There is a little bit of Resident Evil 4 also, I would say, for the survival type of mechanics and relationship between two characters. And lots of cinema reference. Recently, Macbeth was one of my favorite. The way they filmed an actual real world, but in a very aesthetic way, without tends into the fantasy, but keep it beautiful but visceral at the same time.